it's like something is happening around you which is extremely tragic, and it is actually a chapter on government's role in health, and in a lot of ways they are failing somewhere, they're successful, vaccines, etc. And now this kid is actually learning about this and seeing it in action. That is what I often wonder, like, what is the practical application of this? Do you think there is any practical application of this?
If I like to conclude in nutshell, it's all about the intent. Because see, if a 7th class student or an 8th class student is reading this chapter, he may be just ratifying the whole thing because he has to give an answer.
Correct.
Say for example, if the question in examination is what is the role of government in health sector, लिख दो. अब वो implement हो रहा है. He's not at that stage. He's not bothered about whether it's being implemented or not.
Correct.
He doesn't care about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what is the total strength of public hospitals and private hospitals in the country, and what kind of facilities public hospitals are supposed to. This happens when you practically face it in your life.
Right.
So I always feel that people who are working in this sector, government, private, wherever, if the intent is right, things can be better.
Correct.
Things definitely can be better.
Right.
I would like to sort of add to that a little bit, because you're absolutely right. Like ratify करके हमको एक उल्टी करना है basically paper पे. But I think that's why we are also doing this podcast, right? Where we are going back to 7th grade and reading it, because in so many ways we are now seeing that this is very stark truth.
Yeah.
As you say, they're not mincing words at all.
That's what I'm saying. I was sad when I read the chapter, because at this age, I am not reading it because मुझे कल एग्जाम देना है. I am reading it कि यार ये implement हो रहा है.
Right.
Exactly.
The reality is different around me, because I am at that age.
Yeah.
I see people around me. I work with different class of people. I see their scenario, their living standards, everything.
Yeah.
I know. अभी मेरे लिए तो recent example है. My chauffeur, my driver was had some issues and he said that.
Yeah.
That मैं चला जाऊंगा hospital. I said I have given you an insurance.
Yeah.
He said आपका insurance तो 2-2.5 लाख 3 लाख का है. अगर मैं जाऊंगा private hospital में, they will exhaust me like this. उनको पता है जितने का है वो तो सर उसके ऊपर होगा तो फिर मैं कहाँ से दूंगा.
Oh, that's true.
So I was like हाँ ये बात भी सही है यार, चलो मैं insurance. But then 3-4 days, 5 days, 6 days, I kept calling him. He took a break. He said, I need a break. Let me just do my tests.
Right.
For 5 days, I kept checking on him. I said, क्या हुआ? सर वो एक आया है रिपोर्ट, दूसरा अभी लिया है, परसों बुलाया है, ये किया है. I said, यार but प्रॉब्लम क्या है? कुछ पता चल रहा है? ये जो हुआ है तुम्हें, जो भी सिम्टम्स हैं, what is it? He said, नहीं वो उधर बोला, वो उधर वाले हॉस्पिटल में जाओ, इधर वाले. तो मैंने कहा, he said, I am feeling fine, but थोड़ा ऐसा वीकनेस फील हो रहा है और कुछ ऐसा. तो इधर वो लाइन बहुत लंबा होता है, ये होता है. देन I said यार it's high time, मतलब whatever I can do. I spoke to somebody which was a kind of charitable,
right.
and I told them, I said I have insurance for him. So अरे आपने पहले क्यों नहीं बताया? अरे भेज दो उसको. So they kept him for 7-8 days. He's fine now.
Yeah.
And obviously थोड़ा चैरिटेबल था, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थी, तो उनका प्राइजेस कम थे.
Correct.
But they recovered their money from the insurance.
Correct.
Finally, in 9 years he's been working with me. This is the first time we have used the policy. But then I realized, I said, यार हजारों लोग होंगे ऐसे.
Yeah.
Actually,
And it needed your intervention for it to be fine.
Yes. अगर नहीं होता तो वो महीना भर भी, अभी his work, he's down now. उसने ज्वाइन कर लिया वापस काम 15 दिन के अंदर. आई ओनली टोल्ड हिम आफ्टर कभी, आई सेड टू टेक 1 वीक का रेस्ट, आराम करो, और फिर उसके बाद आओ आराम से. नहीं तो ये चलता रहता है यार.
No, so I just want to ask you, like the first sentence of this chapter only, which says that in a democracy, people expect the government to work for their welfare. Do you think there's any truth to that?
They expect, see, there are, वही वाली बात है. People who can afford it, they don't care. They don't depend. I feel people who are in a situation where they know that we can manage on our own, they can buy a good health policy, and they can afford to go to a private hospital, they don't expect anything.
That's true.
I have a feeling that in today's time, from any government, they don't expect anything.
Correct.
ठीक है. प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जिनको नीड है, उनका एक्सपेक्टेशन होता है. लेकिन वो एक्सपेक्टेशन के लिए वो क्या कर सकते हैं, वो पूरा नहीं होता. They can't raise their voice and they can't come on streets, and that's what I said in the beginning only. You know, I always feel that people who are sitting on a certain position, if they have the right kind of intent, things can be better easily. See, we can have different logics. Obviously, our population is so
Very
much.
high.
Yeah.
हमारे resources उतने नहीं हैं.
Correct.
सब कुछ है. मतलब I feel it's the population, you know, and then it comes down to your education, because you can't educate everybody.
Correct.
You can't give good health facilities. You can't give other things,
Right.
food. But still, I would say, जैसे if I am supposed to take care of a certain health sector in my area,
Right.
you know, whether I am a politician or an government officer,
Right.
and it's under me.
Right.
If my intent is right कि नहीं यार, ये
Right.
गवर्नमेंट का पैसा है,
Right.
यार ये इसके लिए बनाया गया, इन
Right.
लोगों के लिए, यार इन लोगों के लिए कर देते हैं.
Correct.
नहीं है वो.
नहीं है वो.
अब वो क्यों नहीं है वो?
Yesterday I was on a Twitter space, okay, where ये आर्गुमेंट चल रहा था कि गवर्नमेंट ने वेलफेयर देना चाहिए या नहीं देना चाहिए. यहाँ से ही तो शुरुआत होता है बेसिकली कि अरे गवर्नमेंट इतना कुछ फ्री में दे रहा है, रेवड़ी बांट रहा है, जो बोल रहे हैं, लाइक इतना फ्री में जा रहा है, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. एंड the one thing that we started talking about was also unemployment. The reason why people want permanent jobs in government is because of the benefits that you just mentioned, right? Like the insurance, the stability, कि हमको income आ रहा है, हमको government hospitals में access मिलेगा, जल्दी मिलेगा, all of the benefits that come with it. It's so sad that the government has to become an employer to actually make sure that welfare reaches at least some level of people, right? And of course there is welfare like food, health, education, सब कुछ है. But you know, the larger argument is that government ने welfare देना भी चाहिए कि नहीं देना चाहिए. अभी ये बहुत बात हो रहा है actually आसपास में. What do you think? Is that a argument that we should even have?
We should have, because the answer is clear. Yes, absolutely. The
but
government
then it's
should.
not an argument, right?
Yeah.
But no, I feel that welfare, जैसे I always feel that कि अब I don't know, मैं क्योंकि I'm not an expert to say anything on this, but I feel that, for example, if we are talking about health sector, so now any government, I'm, you know, forget about
parties
छोड़
दो.
government, क्योंकि जो rule कर रहा है वही government.
Correct.
वो government का अगर ये जो उनके अगर सिस्टम में ये है that government is supposed to provide good health facilities in states or wherever, आप उसके लिए होता वो सब है,
Right.
but उसका जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है, अगर आप देखें, फॉर एग्जाम्पल मोस्ट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स और गवर्नमेंट हेल्थ सेक्टर्स यूँ से, अरे वहाँ तो डॉक्टर ही नहीं है, वहाँ तो बेड भी नहीं है, या नहीं है, बेड बहुत गंदा है, या ये है. वो क्यों है?
Right.
बिकॉज पीपल हु आर वर्किंग, अब नाउ even a sweeper who's working in a government clinic, he knows that मेरी नौकरी है यार.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
And I'm not talking about politicians, I'm talking about people who are working. You know, I always say that, you know, we talk about our rights, but I think there are certain duties also.
Yeah.
भाई अगर हमारे देश में जैसे हेल्थ सेक्टर में एक बहुत बड़ा रीजन है that, you know, cleanliness. अब स्लम्स हैं हमारे यहाँ, लेकिन यार स्लम्स में भी रहने वाले लोग अपने आप को थोड़ा सा तो बेटर रख सकते हैं. They have decided not to take, they don't bother. I have seen nalas around. बॉम्बे में तो slums are everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, here you have a building where the flat is 10 crores and then
Of
on the
course.
next side you have a.
Yeah.
तो वहाँ पे आप देख लो nalas with plastics and.
But I
everything.
also I don't know if we can assign the blame of that to the people living in the slums. Like, I think it also, that's again where welfare comes in, not just in terms of giving things, but giving facilities, providing education, and educating them that this is not, you shouldn't do this.
No.
Or
See,
even
it works both ways. I always feel maybe balance is different. Maybe say, for example, we say that for a government to provide a good health facility is important for them. 70% of job they are supposed to do, but I think 30% is to be done by the other side also. So it goes on a different level. For example, say a simple rule here, red light crossing. It's very simple, ना?
Right.
Red का मतलब है रुकना है,
Correct.
green का मतलब है चलना है.
correct.
लेकिन कहाँ होता है?